Now this is what I would call a pity repair, because if you took this unit to any other repair shop, they'd tell you to walk right back out the door with it. Hey y'all, thanks for tuning back into Chickanic. I hope everybody's having a great week. Now I have to make this video because I know there are thousands of you out there that have a trimmer exactly like this one. A STIHL FS56 that you might have had for years. It quit running for one reason or the other. You have it sitting in your garage just collecting dust. And although you don't want to throw it away, you really don't want to spend the money to have it fixed either. Now, when my customer initially brought it in, he set it down outside and there was a few little roaches that ran out of it. On top of that, it's got what looks like black mold. I don't know. Now, the first thing that makes me cringe is there's no pull rope. It is probably the reason that he let it sit for years because it broke on him and he never got it repaired. But now it has sat for so long that I go to press the primer bulb and it just crumbled in my finger. Now from experience, I know if a machine has sat so long that the primer bulb has cracked like that, that means that it definitely needs a carburetor kit and maybe a carburetor. Now there are reasons why I am cringing about this repair and why another shop would probably not work on it. First off, with it sitting this long and all the issues that it has, when you start diagnosing one of these machines, one of the first things you do is check compression. One of the second things you do is check for spark. And you can't do either one of those without a pull rope, which means I'm going to actually have to repair the trimmer before I can even see if it's worth fixing. Now, you might think, well, it can't be that big of a deal. It was running before the pull rope broke. Yeah, it sat for a while, but that gives you sort of an idea of what's wrong with it, right? No, because a lot of times it could have actually lost its spark or compression, and then the customer went to pulling on it so many times and so hard, that's why they broke the rope. So while we know that it needs a pull rope, fresh fuel, a service, fuel filter, spark plug, air filter, a carburetor kit, or a carburetor, it might not have spark or compression. But you know me, I like to keep things out of the landfill. So I've decided this is going to be a pity repair because when I make videos with customers' equipment, I don't charge them labor. So he'll get out pretty cheap no matter what. And I thought it'd be a good video for y'all. So let's dig in. Oh Lord, it's alive. What do y'all think? Male black widow or brown recluse? Either way. Got him. I'm going with brown recluse. What do y'all think? Okay, I see eggs, I see dead spiders, but I don't think anything else is alive, so we're good. Now, what I really hate about this repair: snap ring. Now, why do I hate snap rings? That's because I work at a shop where I have somebody that comes over, borrows one of my tools, and never puts it back. So anytime I have to remove or replace a snap ring, I can't find the dang tool. Let's see if it's in my toolbox. Oh, no way. No way. I should have kept my mouth shut. It's here. So what's worse than not being able to find your snap ring pliers? Using them on something this small when you can't see anymore. Okay, I can do it. I can do it. Maybe. Oh, I can't even see that. Get in your hole. Oh. Do I have my little keeper? No, I don't know where it is. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I did it. Oh my gosh. I did it. Oh my God, it's gone. Fudge. Oh, I found it. Thank goodness. Ugh. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. Looks okay. Got an end of my rope right there. Spring looks good. All right, I think
that we're going to be able to clean those dead spiders out. Throw another rope in this and wind her up. Now be very careful that you don't let this spring wanker out on you, because that won't be fun. So we're just going to be real careful. Set that back down. Pry this rope out.
Okay, so hopefully you still have a piece of rope left if you are changing out your pull rope, and you can see where it actually went through. Okay, where it actually went through the handle, you can see how small it is, and a lot of people think bigger's better, but in pull rope world, it's not. That's because any bigger rope will not be able to go through your pulley. So we're using size 3.5, and I'm going to pull out, this is 2 feet here, I'm going to pull out about 34 inches. So we got 24, another 10. You can always make it shorter, but you can't make it longer. Next, you want to go ahead and melt the tip of your rope. Just get rid of that fray. Make it a little point, that way it's easier to get in through your rewind pulley. And you know where it came out. We're going to just slide it right back up in there. There's a little notch right here. We're going to make a knot at the end here and get it down back into our rewind pulley. I like to do a figure 8 knot. Might as well show you how to do that real quick. So I just bring the end around and I wrap it around twice before I pull it back up through the hole. That way you got a good little glob of rope here that'll stay where it's supposed to. It might be a little tougher to get back down into its hole. Just like that. Okay, so there's a couple ways to do it. This is how I do it. I burnt the other end of my rope, and I'm going to go ahead while nothing's in here and stick it through the little eyelet, because once you have this pulley down in there, it's not very easy to get it in there. I'm going to go ahead and string it back through my handle. This handle actually had this little metal piece. I'm going to return there and make my knot. Piece goes in there, and that goes in there. We're just going to make sure that goes in there. Okay. Now that we have our handle on, we're going to pull the rope back to where the handle is all the way to the plastic. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to line our rope up inside the plastic pulley right here and try to hold on to it. If it comes out, it's okay. You can re-put it back in, but we're just going to move it around a little bit. It'll fall into place here in a sec. No. Come on. Fall into place. There we go. There we go. Just twist it until it falls into place. Now, which way do you turn it? Well, when we pull the rope, the rewind goes counterclockwise. So, and then it retracts the rope back in clockwise. So we want to wind it counterclockwise. That way we put that tension on it that way, so it will wind the rope back in clockwise. All right, did I explain that okay? Before we do that though, might go ahead and put this on, because it doesn't really matter, other than the fact that I hate the clips. Alright, so we want to keep it sort of in that little notchy area that I told you about. These ones, like I said, they suck. All of this plastic is real pokey. This is where I get lots of boo-boos.
Okay, so it winds that way, so we want to go back the counterclockwise. Get it in that hole. Sometimes it's better if you drag it around that, and here we go. We're just going to start winding, okay? And we're going to have to regroup here in a second because everything gets tangled. Okay, so then I'm going to hold it with my thumb. I'm going to come back up, put everything back where it was, and continue. Oh, God, this sucks. It sucks. And I think we're there. Nope, we still got some twisting. It just got caught. Okay. Hold it with our thumb. Hope we have finger strength left. And keep twisting. At this point, it gets sort of tangly. You can, if you got the finger strength, hold it with your thumb. You're going to have to pull it a couple times. No. And I totally did that off camera. Ah! Okay. Just straighten your rope out because it'll get twisted up on you. You'll pull it. Do this a couple times until everything, you know, straightens out on you. And then you can go back to twisting. Are we tight? Are we tight? Oh, that feels tight. Okay, we are tight. It won't turn anymore, so I'm holding it with my thumb. Pull in. I got the rope, and oh yeah, we made it. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, are y'all ready to check some compression and spark? Plug don't look too bad. Now, since it is easy start, you can't just trust the 3 or 4 pulls. You've got to let it go for, I don't know, I'm going to keep pulling until I see if it's going to be worth fixing or not, because we got to get above 100 and at least 10 to 15 pounds. 110, 115 pounds for me to even think about continuing on. See, we're only at 90 pounds so far. We're now at 100 pounds. Well, y'all, I just had her in the floor, pulled another 20 times. I can't get above 100 pounds. That makes me sad. But now you know why shops will not work on a lot of this stuff. I mean, that's 20 minutes that I'd have to, you know, if I was a regular shop charging a customer for a rewind repair, I mean, that's 30 bucks plus a pull rope is a few dollars. Do you think somebody's going to come back and pick up this trimmer and pay $35 when it doesn't run? No. So that is why a bunch of repair shops are charging diagnosing fees. Now, I don't do it. I probably should. But, I mean, most of the time, 90% of the time when something ends up like this, after I just put a, you know, bunch of effort into fixing the rewind and, you know, a few bucks in a pull rope, the customer's not going to pick it up. Now, the crazy part is customers think they're doing you a favor by leaving their equipment with you. That, you know, oh, it's not a big deal. It's only $15.50 diagnosing fee or $30 for maybe a writer or something like that. But it's okay. They've got all them spare parts. Well, sometimes it does work out. But sometimes you end up with hundreds and hundreds of pieces of equipment that you just have sitting around. 95% of all this equipment, there's a bunch under there too, is units that customers left after I called and told them that it wasn't worth fixing. In the last couple of years, a couple of you have been around for a minute and you've known I've done a bunch of trash to treasure videos, but I've pretty much ran out of anything in that pile that has compression. Now that's a lot of burned up machines. Well, guys, you know I love a happy ending, but today in my diagnosing, fixing, and fails, it is a fail. And now you know why shops are taking deposits on repairs. So, guys, thanks again for tuning in to Chickanic. Hopefully, this video saves you some time, money, and frustration in the future. If you find yourself coming back over and over again, think about hitting that subscribe button. And if you ain't tired of me yet, check this video out right here.